Sometimes we make presentations in very small rooms, sometimes in meeting rooms, sometimes around board tables, sometimes in large halls. Often you actually have very little control over the space and how it is laid out. But there are some things that you can do to help make your presentation better. And often it involves starting, that you have to be there before the audience. Get there in plenty of time. Know where the toilets are. I know it sounds silly, but it's important. Know where the toilets are. Know where the light switches are. Know which switch does what. If you're wanting to put lights up and down, know what the switches do. Where are the fans? Where is the projector? Know how these things work. Familiarize yourself with it. Sometimes it might mean that you need to be there half an hour, even an hour before your audience are, to make sure that you've got all of this information. Make sure you've got seating organized for yourself. If this is a presentation, maybe it's a workshop that you're running, you need to have a seat. Make sure you've got that in a place that isn't going to be taken away or taken by somebody else. You need to know where your place is. Probably take water with you. Tea, other drinks are fine, but actually plain cold water is very good for your throat. So just take a bottle of water with you. And if you have the chance, find a glass, because a glass looks more classy on the stage, but make sure you've got some water with you. If you're running a workshop and you've got a whole lot of participants who maybe in the afternoon slot they start falling asleep and they're getting a bit tired, maybe in the sunny afternoon, do you need to organize to make sure that there's some sugar on hand? What I mean by that, often you'll find like little pots of sweets on the tables. This is very deliberate. It helps to keep your audience awake and alert. And by being there before anybody else, you have a chance to own the stage. You need to feel confident when you're up front. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, when the audience are all in their seats and you get up onto the stage, maybe there's a light on you, but everybody is watching. They want to see, who's this? What are they going to do? How are they going to do it? Are they going to do a good job? You are likely to be nervous. Unless you do this kind of thing a great deal, you are likely to be very nervous when you've got more than a few people looking at you. It is stressful. And in some ways that's good because it helps to keep you very sharp. But it can be too stressful. You may have heard the idea of stage fright. That some people, when they're suddenly faced by this audience, suddenly they forget everything, they can't remember what they're doing, and they panic. Well, one way that you can get over that stage fright, or that can help towards it, is be there way before anybody else arrives. Because when all the chairs are empty, you can stand on the stage and you can get a feel for what it is going to feel like. You can prepare yourself. You can even practice giving your introduction to the empty chairs. And you can get comfortable. You can stand there. You can face the audience. You can feel confident and you can think, I can do this. I know where the toilets are. I know where the light switches are. I know where the projector is. I know how it works. Okay, I can feel confident in front of these empty chairs. Now, let me imagine that these chairs are now filled with people. Can I do my introduction again? Yes. And you do it. Do it for real. Don't just think about it, but actually do it. Give your introduction to the empty chairs. Actually, often if you've got a microphone and so on, the sound people, they love it because it gives them a chance to make sure that all the equipment is working correctly and they've set the right levels for your voice. But it also gives you a chance to feel, what does the room feel like in order to speak to that person in the back? How loud do I need to project my voice so that they can still hear me? You can pick that kind of thing up when you're still projecting to these empty chairs. Now, generally, you might be able to change where a screen, you cannot change where a screen is on the wall, or where the lights are, or where the power socket is that you're going to try and plug your projector into. But there are things that you can change. You can change where you stand. Now, ideally, if you're going to have a flip chart or something that you want to be able to write on, make sure that you stand away from it so that your dominant hand is the one that is working on it. Then you're not turning your back to the audience quite so much. Or if you've got a presentation that's going to be projected onto a screen, make sure the screen is on that side of you with your right hand so that you can point to it without having to turn away from the audience. Because if it's on that side of you, in order to point at it, you're having to turn away from the audience to get round there. So keep the screen, the flip chart, the whiteboard, keep all of those things on your right hand side or on your dominant side, in order that you don't have to turn your back on the audience so much. Think about it, where the projector is beaming from onto that screen, so that you don't end up standing in its light and making a big shadow on the wall. And of course you can still move around the stage, and you have to think of it like a stage, even if it's in a small meeting room where you're just meeting with members of the board or something. You can still imagine this as being your stage. If you're trying to tell a story, does standing in different places, does that help to tell the story better? Does it help to communicate your point more clearly? Is it possible for you to practice in that room before they come along? The more that you can practice it out loud, the more confident you can feel in that space, the better. Of course, when you actually come to the real thing, you're going to be nervous, and often people can kind of freeze up a little bit, particularly to start with. So don't forget to move, because you will tend to freeze up and your face becomes fixed and your body becomes fixed, and actually you have to remember to move your hands and to move your head a little bit sometimes, and to move your whole body as you're talking to them, because the more that you look relaxed, the more they will relax, and the more you will relax, and it will be a great presentation. And think about how you move. It's not just moving for the sake of moving. It's moving in order to communicate well. So if there's something that is very important, or it's very private, or you want to connect with your audience, you come closer to them. Whereas if it's something, well, what do you think? Then maybe you might step back a bit. Yeah? And you might even, use your hand in a way that says, what do you think of this? Yeah. If you are wanting to present, different parts of your presentation might come in different places on the stage, but very often when you come to the conclusion, that's where you then want to be standing very confidently right in the middle of the stage, and you give your punchline. This is what I want you to do. I've told you about this. I've told you about this. This is what I want you to do. Yeah, and be confident about it. And yeah, just be aware that how you move your hands and your body and your face, the expressions that you have, it is going to make an impact on the audience and how they feel about you and what you are saying. So think, what is it that I want to communicate, and how do I communicate that best? Through my body, my voice, and my words.